Hello everybody, welcome to Acro FS. What is this simulator? Acro FS is a stick and rudder aerobatic flight simulator, actually created by a real airshow pilot named Jim Bork. And it's been designed from the ground up to pretty much simulate aerobatic flying, which is really cool. It doesn't have track IR support. It does have controller support, so I'm using my Thrustmaster stuff. And then on top of that, it does have VR support. So we're going to check out the game without VR support and with VR support, so you can see both of those worlds. I find it much easier to fly in VR because you can freely look around. You don't have working track IR, so that kind of sucks. However, there are some options, and I'll show them to you here. Let's hit play on this. And here you are greeted with the main menu. You have practice, racing, scenarios, a flight log, settings, etc. We should have... Okay, well, I thought I had a flight log going, but I guess not, because I've been spending some time in this. Setting-wise, it was a little interesting, the controllers. You can see what I'm using here. I'm not using the Xbox One controller. It's plugged in, so it's finding that. Mapping the controls, you'll see I had to reverse some of these. Very strange. Only a few of them were like that. And then also with the trims, you'll notice we have hat switch up and hat switch down, kind of backwards to what you would expect out of that to be realistic. But those are the settings that I have for that. As far as video goes, what we're using here is 2560 by 1440, downscaling it to 1080p for you guys on YouTube, of course. However, you're noticing we have texture quality all maxed. Everything's absolutely maxed out. Now, when you first start this game, it starts like in 720p, and I couldn't figure out how to get out of that. So what I had to do is change resolution to something else. Once that registered and I saw the change, then I could go back to 1440p, and then it would render the game in 1440p. So if you're having those issues, you might want to switch between the resolutions and see if it works. Let's go to practice here, and we can select our aircraft right here. I like this screen. Very easy to use. You've got extra 330 SC Fuzz machine, the SBOC 342, the Super Decathlon, and the Yak 54 Russian Thunder. We'll save that one for later since it is an absolute beast of an airplane. We'll start off with the Super Decathlon, very simple airplane, and you can see how much time I've got in it and how many flights I've actually had. It tells you with all those airplanes, so that's pretty cool. We'll hit OK on that. Next, we'll go to the airports. These are the airports that are given to you within the sim. You got Borrego Springs Night. Don't recommend that. The nighttime is a little wonky looking. Borrego Valley Obstacle Course, so you can actually start learning the course. Flight School and Flight School Night. Now, I can't run at Flight School. For some reason, it gets really bad frame rates, so I would not recommend that. Homestead is just a fictional spot to go, and so is Joe's Garage. However, we're going to check out Borrego Springs. Let's go ahead and hit OK on that. All right, and we are going to be ready to go flying. And I'll leave this in real time so you can see how long it takes to load the game. It's not too bad, to be perfectly honest with you. So my voice sounds a little groggy. I feel a little groggy. Did a little celebrating for the new year last night. And that's the reason why. I'm not sick, I promise you. So check out our different camera views. We can hit the C key. We can change between the F keys. You got a cockpit rear cam, front camera here. You'll notice that sound doesn't change. Sound is meh in this, to be perfectly honest. Oblique camera, you got a tail camera, wing camera, you can see the surfaces, they all move, and we've got everything we need right here. The fixed camera, which is cool for getting shots while it's on the ground, or while you can actually fly this kind of like a RC simulator, and it's really set up that way because Knife Edge Simulations makes that, and they make, you know, RC sims, so that's the reason why everything seems like an RC sim as far as the setup goes. Let's go flying. Let's go ahead and apply full power. And you'll see how we have some movement here in the cockpit. Can't freely move my head because, you know, track IR support, but there we go. Tail comes off the ground, and we are already flying. Let's throw this thing right into a slip on down the runway. And she'll do it for days. Now, the Decathlon is, you know, a pretty... neat airplane. It flies like a Cessna, but man, it's got some power, and it definitely, I mean, sorry, not Cessna, it flies like a Cub, but it definitely has power, so you can do some aerobatics. Like, even right out of the gate, we can go right into some basics, you know, a barrel roll there. We can do a right aileron roll. You see it's just very slow. You do have to use your rudder quite a bit, which is very realistic when you're doing aerobatic flying. And let me show you some more about these cameras here. We've got our, chase camera here, and you can just see how the airplane moves about in the air very realistically. It feels awesome. You have to do some real stick and rudder flying, and I really like that. That's really cool. We've got our cockpit camera. You got your rear seat camera here. You can see more in the back. Then you got your front cam, like we showed you before. Let's do a basic loop here. Let's set up for it. So we want to get our nose straight here. About 1,000 feet is fine. Increase all that airspeed we can get. It'd be so nice to look around, but man, in VR you can, and it's fantastic. All right, here we go. Let's do it. Just light pressure on the back. And we're at the top of the loop now. Follow through. A little bit more. We want to come out at 1,000 feet here. And pretty much nailed it. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Let's head back over to the airport and have some fun with the camera on the ground. You can see right there, we're coming in pretty hot. But you'll get a sense of what the sound and all that's like on the outside view. Nothing too crazy. Do a parade pass, why not? Now you can change between zoom modes with the Z key. You've got manual zoom, so I can zoom in with my mouse scroll wheel here, which is really nice. And we'll bring this baby all the way back around here. Let me get that. There we go. Okay. They put the mouse pointer away for us. Thank you. Yep. On up, and then nice roll out of there. Sweet. So let's land the Decathlon, because we have a lot to show you in this video with this particular sim. All right. I'm just going to go ahead and bleed some speed off here with the slip. We don't have working flaps. And those would be on a channel anyway. They would have it set up to it for a channel, which is kind of strange, I know, but that's how they have it set up. Let's try to get a three-pointer here. Ooh, hello. Needs a little bit more rudder there. I do like the sounds of it touching down on the ground. That actually sounds pretty darn good. So you can always hit like spacebar to reset. You can hit K to kill it, and so on and so forth. Like I said, you know, it has channels like an RC. I changed between our zoom modes here, auto. You got ground and view. What a beautiful shot of that. You can hit escape and you can change your environment. So you can put clouds out there. A lot of options here for wind and turbulence. Sun angle, very kind of, this is really strange. You can change the inclination of it in the azimuth, but I know that you might be like, what is that? I don't know myself, but now it looks more like it's during the day. Hit escape again. We can change aircraft on the fly, and it doesn't take long to do it. Let's jump into the Fuzz machine. The Extra 330 SC, one of my favorite airplanes in this sim. It is a amazing machine. So we can change, you know, seats and all that stuff. Not in this thing, but with the F keys. You see all that movement there. Sweet. All right, let's go flying. Full power there. A little bit of left rudder. And keep it straight down the line. And she's already off the ground, just like that. Just like that. And we can already go into an inverted state of flight. Whoa, hello. Could have been smoother with that, but that's all right. I love the feeling in VR whenever you take off in this thing, because man, you just feel the power of what it can do. And let me show you a little bit about how the Extra flies. So I am just barely moving the stick, which is very realistic because the Extra has such massive ailerons. So I'm just barely touching the stick to move it around. And you'll see we can just fly it very nice and easy. We can even pull our power back a little bit here. And she flies great. You know, she really does. We'll go ahead and level off here. Now, clearly there's some ortho scenery happening here because it looks very nice, the mountains. And you can go flying around the mountains and out. There's plenty of area to explore. You're not too limited with that. So let's show you what the aileron's like. I'm gonna go ahead and trim down. That's what those beeps are. And we're gonna do a 4-point roll. So let's go up on the nose and then 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I love how the head judders around like that. But this is how an aileron roll is in this thing. I mean, pretty crazy, right? Yes. Let's go a little bit to the left here. And the stall characteristics are fantastic in this as well. We'll do a power off stall here so you get a sense of what it does. And airplane gets very mushy on the controls right here as we get to a stall, and there's the stall. It's not a lot to it. It's got a big massive wing on it. So let's try a power on stall next. Go to the left here. And I'm gonna go full power. We're just gonna stall this thing with angle of attack here. Should be able to go to a wing view. Or an outside view or something here to show you. Here we go. You can see how we're having to use the rudder to maintain. I mean, we're pretty much pointed straight up. And it hasn't stalled yet. But it's gonna stall a wing. I can already see the left wing stalling. I'm not doing very good in the outside view. Let's try this here. I mean, this thing will climb for days, of course, but let's just go straight up. I can feel it already starting to drop to the right. There it goes. Yep, there we go. Just stalled that right wing. Now we can get it into a aggressive spin if we want. So right rudder there. And then when you release the rudder, I'm completely neutral on the controls. It is just spinning. So I'll go opposite rudder, and then we break the stall. I mean, and there's one of the G effects you'll see. You can also red out if you want a little bit here. There we go. Very cool airplane. Love flying this sucker. Let's have a little bit of fun here. It just really, really spins on a dime, man. Knife edge action. I'll show you what that looks like from the outside view too. There we go. So we got that F1 camera going here for fixed cam. We go up and to the left. No working smoke. That is the only thing that's unfortunate. I could not figure out how to use smoke. I tried all the channels and all that, and to no avail. All right, so we're going to do a knife edge pass here. Let's get it where we need it. There we go. And then we go like this. That looks so cool. We'll do it again from the other side. I mean, this thing turns on a dime. Look at this. If you ever been to an air show and watched an extra, it's pretty darn good. There we go. And I'll show you what the stall looks like from the ground as well. Just basically using this like an RC simulator for the most part, even though that is a full scale airplane. You wouldn't think it by it being an extra, but that is the case. All right, here we go. We're going to go up. Let her do her thing. Ooh, screwed it up already. Here we go. Yeah, that didn't go so well. That's all right. We've done enough with this airplane. Let's land it, and we'll try something else here. We've got a nice left downwind. We want to get rid of all this energy on the airplane using that left rudder and opposite aileron. One thing with tail draggers is you do fly them with a lot more rudder than you would normally. Other airplanes. I know those of you that are very familiar with tail draggers would know that. Just explain it to people who don't. All right, so let's bleed off some energy here. The nose. It's so much easier in VR to really see where you're going here. But we're going to go like this. There we go. We'll take it. 3-pointer. Ba-boom, ba-boom. Fantastic. I have wheel brakes, and the brakes work pretty well. I haven't nosed it over or anything ridiculous, so that's been really nice. Let's go ahead and taxi in. Here to the right. We are an extra, or a tail dragger like this. You would do S turns when you're taxiing, so you can see in front of you. So we're taxiing that way. So the ground controls feel very stiff, which is nice to have, you know, friction and stuff like that, but it does feel a little stiff sometimes. There we go. We'll park it over here. Because why not? Right by the porta potties, right? Sometimes you don't want to turn. There we go. Right there. All right. Hit K to kill it. And it's pretty much like that. Okay, so we're loaded up here at the airport. I can freely look around all I want. On the main monitor, it doesn't have like a single image or anything like that. It's the double eye thing, so I'll have to zoom in on it in post, but I can use either left or right eye, which is nice, considering that normally it just records the left eye and it drives people nuts having a left perspective in a cockpit. So freely looking around, very smooth in the headset. I'm using an Oculus Rift S. And it just feels natural. It feels great. So let's go fly in this bad boy. Bring up our power. Oh, it is so much fun in VR. Very nice indeed. So you'll see I can look out my left. And you can just fly way more precisely. Also, keep your eye on a fixed point whenever you roll around it, which makes it much easier. Let's burn off some of our energy, and I'll show you it's much easier to land in VR clearly because you can see over the nose. You just can't see over the nose that well in 2D. There we go. Much better. Much better landing there. We'll check out what the races are like. So let's do that. All right. We got a counter. Oh, bring up that nose. Gotta go through the pylon here as straight as possible. Whoa, confetti. Boom. All right, we got a silver. So you have to complete 4 more courses to unlock beginner races. Okay, let me go ahead and take care of that. Oh, it kills your engine when you hit those. And then you have to refire it up. Okay, I got you. I got you now. And then a race towards the end. Pretty cool little challenges. Okay, we've unlocked beginner races. Fantastic. Okay, so since we unlocked all that stuff, we now have the beginner races. The pylon oval's boring. You just kind of go around in a circle. The Sierra Nevada downhill is, they kill your engine in the beginning, and then you have to fight your way down the mountain. But we're going to do the 2 pylons race and see what that's all about. Oh, it's a short little Bristol track. I thought this was going to be pylon racing. I guess not. Okay, so the racing wasn't my favorite thing. It definitely is something to do, but it's just not for me. That's for certain. The other options you have before we go is scenarios. You can change. You got basic training, enter the box, fuzzy aerobatics, lost highway, low ceiling. Just some fun stuff to do, which is cool. I like that there are things to do in this sim. Yeah. That's pretty much our first look at Acro FS. Let me know if you guys want to see more of it. What do you prefer? You like the VR look, or did you like the one before it? And that'll do it. Happy New Year to everybody. I'll see you next time. Take care.